Good evening, and welcome to Cider Enterprises Book Club Conference Call. I am your hostess, Queen Claudette. Redic is what they call me, Queen Hostess. But the Cider Enterprises Club is a wonderful time for us to share tonight our delight with storyteller and author Kathleen Robinson. She will be sharing her book, The Store, with us. Kathleen is just honoring me with her story because she is representative of the great migration that happened here in Chicago more than 100 years ago. And certainly her family story in telling the store depicts the times the people have gone through, the experiences we've had, and the love that they shared. Truly, her story is one of overcoming many obstacles migrating to this great city of Chicago. So, Kathleen, if you will star 6 and let the audience hear that you're here, I'd appreciate it.
Hi. I'm so excited to be here tonight. How are you?
I am fabulous. And yourself?
Great. I'm ready to start.
Okay, well, let me just do my little spiel about who I am, what we're doing here, and we shall get started. Again, as I said, I'm Claudette Redic. I'm founder, owner of Cider Enterprises, a business coaching and consulting firm. We help you, the entrepreneur, harness the energy of your ideas so that you can translate your life experiences into profitable business solutions. I've been doing this now since 2010 as a business coach and consultant, and during this time I was evolving, and I came with this vision that I plan to manifest here in Chicago called Sister's Home. And in fact, this month is the 4th anniversary of this vision, which is an opulent resort I plan on building with your support right here in Chicago. This resort will be in tribute to African American women. We will have the finest beauty, welcome, and happiness in this one place, which will become a global destination. In this Sister's Home Resort, I envisioned a book forum, and I just saw us sitting around in one of the opulent spaces inside where the authors gather, all the readers are there, and we just have a good time talking, discussing our books, book signings, presentations going on. So I have not yet manifested Sister's Home. I thought about, well, what can I do to continue all the aspects that I want to see in this place? And the Cider Enterprises Book Club is certainly the very first manifestation of the contents that we will have inside of Sister's Home. So I say cheers to me and all the supporters of the Sister Home vision. And tonight, we're going to share this celebration with Kathleen Robinson and the store. You ready, Kathleen?
Yes.
Okay, well, let us get started. I want to start out by asking you personally, your growing up years, were they in Chicago or where did you come from?
Yes, I was born in the Cook County Hospital way back in the early 40s in Chicago. A lot of people don't know where the Cook County Hospital is if they're from other states. But yes, I'm a Chicago native and very proud of it.
Well, very good. And your parents, I know the story tells that your father was a Tennessean, and Warren Robinson's family came from Mississippi. So both of these families got here to Chicago and began to unite. How old were you when you first met this wonderful husband of yours?
I was about 19 years old, 18 or 19, somewhere around in that age bracket.
Mm-hmm.
But I was a young woman, sort of out there alone, no parental guidance, and that was part of the story in my book.
Yeah, you said you grew up in the Orchard Gardens home?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I was 4 years old, my parents actually got us they call it an apartment at the All-Girl Gardens project. And it was a very beautiful place with green grass and trees, and the neighborhoods were pristine. It was a beautiful place. I grew up there until I was about 11 or 12 years old.
And then what happened? You guys decided to just move on into the city? What went on at that time that changed your state?
Well, we had a major situation that happened, and my parents divorced. And when they divorced, my sister and I were shifted back and forth, and it was a traumatic time for my sister and I.
Okay. Sounds like you went through a lot just finding your space. So I imagine there were some years in between leaving that and then meeting at one. This is while you were living in the city and a young woman out and about?
Yes. I found out that this young man that ended up being my husband was smitten by me, and I didn't particularly care for him. He was just a person for me to use. I wasn't seriously interested in anything about him. He was just someone that I could ask to drive me somewhere because he had his own automobile.
Oh, you was a powerful man at that time.
Oh, yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't mature enough to know that. But yes, he came from a very good stock.
Okay. He really does sound like he's deeply rooted in his family, and I kind of went back through his mother's story, Mrs. Fain, and how she came to Chicago during the time when many jobs were offered to blacks, and in fact, that working at the R.H. Dunley Company kind of helped her to get her first store. And
yes, it did. Yes, it did. Right. Well, she didn't know that at the time. She was, I guess you would consider her a factory worker. Like many people were just privileged to get employment. And she had a severe accident, and the settlement from that mishap enabled her to buy a 2-flat building on Dorchester, 6800 Dorchester, and then she got the grocery store, small grocery store, in the Pocket. It was an area in the city called the Pocket, and that's where she hired different locals in the area, and her son and daughter helped her.
Very.
So
I see in her
history.
Her paragraph about her talking about her good work ethic and unwavering determination to own something if given a chance. And she to help family poverty, and she said she was tired of working in them cotton fields, and she came and got her. R.H. Dunley was a big company in Chicago for many people. So working in a factory there offered security, some benefits, and things that most people coming from the cotton fields have not had prior to that.
Correct. Yes, she was a beacon in her area of the city, and everyone looked up to her, including her son, Rob. He had a very good role model to pattern his life after. And when he saw how she interacted with with her customers. That's why she sort of instilled all these good qualities in him, as parents are designed to do.
She did a good job. I was reading, some of the things he would do. Men used to know how to court a woman by courting her family. And you talk about whatever she wanted, that's what he would get. Aunt Eleanor, who you were staying with at the time, so that she welcomed him even before you did to that house. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of hard to find a man today who'll bring a bag of groceries or, niceties for the people in the household. And that certainly sounds like...
Right. I don't know. I don't know, Claudette, if you are... if you can see my face, because I'm smiling at what he did initially to be able to court me, and just to get in the house. He would bring my aunt anything she wanted. It was comical, and I would just shake my head. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, here he comes again, So yes, he made himself very important.
Yes, and to me that just says he recognized that you were not alone. You had family, and he needed everyone's approval who was in charge of you.
Correct. That is so true. That was part of the genesis of our relationship, was the serious courting that he shared with everyone. Everyone that knew him knew he was smitten by me, and they wondered, where did I find him? I didn't. He found me. And he was my first experience of not having anyone leave you alone, because I would talk to him very nicely. I would just say, "Leave me alone." I mean, are you here again? I didn't want his calls on the phone. No, I flatly was not interested, Claudette.
I laugh at some of the encounters. I know they weren't funny to you, but as you moved around to different family situations, and you made a statement about they were very careful with you because nobody wanted you to get pregnant on their watch.
Correct. Well, that was the biggest scare back then. The young girls getting pregnant, and no one wanted that responsibility of, first of all, being saddled with my sister and I getting pregnant on their watch, and then hopefully, not taking care of the baby. So yes, we had a very good Christian upbringing, Claudette. That was the underlying gold thread in my relationship with everyone, and in fact, the Lord just kept me from being involved in all sorts of mishaps. Looking back on it, I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, I was shielded from so many things because I wasn't watched. I could go out and do anything I wanted to do.
Well, that's important. Tribute to being the kind of person you are and raising the children that you have. You had example. And people, they might be kind of loose, but they weren't happy with that looseness. They wanted folks to care about them and protect and provide for them. In your story, you get into a lot of emotions that, for me, I was finding somewhat surprising, considering you got this guy courting you. He's got the appearance of wealth and a chance to have some real wealth. And he ultimately does acquire the store. How did he get that store? Can you tell us that? Did he just go out and buy it out of his pockets, or what was the story on his acquiring the store?
Well, that is part of the mystery. When I look back in it, delving all the situations that most people find themselves wanting to own something or wanting to have a business, that is something that you save up for, and you put your little pennies together, and you, both the mother and the father, they work together and say, okay, we're going to go into business. But that did not happen in my husband's case. He had a good work ethic, similar to his mother. And what happened, the situation came about that the owner of the store was my mother-in-law's brother, and he was murdered.
Oh, no.
And because of his murder, it was instantaneous that someone had to open the store. And the wife said that she wanted my husband to continue in the business and that he could operate the store. Although he was young, I really believe that she made some inroads for him to acquire that store. I know from being the wife and knowing that we did not have any money saved up. We lived paycheck to paycheck like a lot of people did. So it remains a mystery, and I really believe the sequel of the store, I might be able to bring that out because the store is still there and she lives on.
Wow. That is something really serious. Tell us about some of the life in the store, the life of the store. Became a community icon. What were some of the things that might occur inside of the store?
You know, that is one of the things that I wanted the reader to understand that I was so jealous of. I was not privy to a lot of the wonderful interactions that the store provided for the neighborhood. I was an onlooker. I guess you call it a spectator. Yes, and I had all kinds of visions of the store taking my husband away from me. That actually created the mystery the whole book is about, is that the store was something mysterious for me, and everyone loved her so much because, of course, Rob supplied all the necessities that anyone would want, and they could go there and pick up all their staples and all the other wish lists that they had. And so this grocery store more or less stole my husband's, I guess, allegiance. I could see the shift. And Claudette, that's one thing was what I tried to do, is to gain my husband's, when you opened up and said how he courted me and how delicious I felt, actually falling in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
Then to see someone else take him right from under my nose like that, it was quite an adjustment that I had to make.
I imagine. And you say that you didn't really interact in the store. Where were you at most of the time?
Well, I was upstairs. We lived over the store. I was upstairs raising the family, and each time I became pregnant, there was another baby that we had to be fed and nurtured. And as the child grew, I had to take the baby to school, and the child to school. I really became a homemaker, a housewife, and very isolated. The interaction of working with adults became less available for me, dealing with the children. And, yeah. Because I ended up with 5 pregnancies, but one baby didn't make it. And so I had 4 children, 3 girls and a boy. And I became that stay-at-home mother.
And didn't go downstairs to the store.
No, I actually went downstairs in the store after the store closed, or I would send the kids downstairs to get something for me if I was cooking and I needed some cornmeal or ran out of milk or butter. I would ask them to go get it for me, and they would run downstairs and tell Daddy that Mommy needed this or that. But for me to work in the store alongside my husband, no, I was not invited to do that.
Hey, how did you feel about that? Not being invited to be down here and all these other people are there.
I know. Well, that one thing I believe became a knowing mystery. I wanted to know, well, why aren't I invited? What is so special about the store that it couldn't be a mom and pop store? It was just his domain, and he had nothing to do with upstairs. I could have anything on the radio I wanted, or conduct the family setting the table and eating our dinners at night. Everything. That was my domain upstairs, and his domain was downstairs. So most women, when their husbands go to work, it's off. Maybe they get in the car and they go downtown or off to whatever they go to work all day. But I knew where my husband was. He was right downstairs. I could hear him laughing and chuckling with the customers. But I wasn't invited, and so yeah, that gnawed on me for a long time.
Well, when he came home in the evenings, was he back to the old Rob that you knew? You had his time and attention, or what was the experience as he grew in the store?
The experience when he came upstairs, he was quiet. He wasn't engaging as far as telling me what was happening in the store. All the secrets and all the interaction that happened all day, it was mute. He had always been quiet, but his personality, when he was in the store, that's when I noticed that he was so different. And he was gregarious and outgoing and knew everyone's name, and he was just Mr. Personality. But when he came upstairs, he was quiet. He'd go in his room, and I'd holler out, say, "Hey, honey, what do you want for dinner?" Or I told him what I had fixed for dinner, and he seemed to be tired. And then he would go out. He'd have to escape, I believe. He had this wife that was pouncing on him, asking him all kinds of questions. So he said, "Okay, well, let me get out of here and just cruise around," or whatever he had to do. So, yeah, it was quite an experience for me. Quite an experience. And that's just what I tried to convey in the book called The Store.
Okay, but you had everything. This man, he provided very well for you, it sounds like. Tell us some of those shopping experiences you were able to go on with, money earned from the store, though.
Oh. Yes, Claudette, I really believe that was one of the mysteries that a lot of people can't understand. This man was very generous as far as his giving me the license to do whatever I wanted to do. I had the car. I had, when the kids were at school, I had the time. And I would go shopping. Charles A. Stevens and Marshall Fields downtown were favorite haunts of mine. And I loved clothes, and I'd like to look nice. I didn't want to look like I was a mother of 4 children living over a grocery store, so I tried to keep my figure down and wear pretty clothes. And if I couldn't afford anything, I would go and make them. So I knew how to sew, and my artistic ability in crafts and sewing bloomed because that's what I delved into.
Well, it doesn't sound like you were too alone. You had those children and the shopping and your decorating and all. But it was
Yes, but all I wanted was one thing. I wanted him. I wanted him back, sweetheart. And then I was almost like, you know the story of Adam and Eve. I mean, she had everything. She had everything, but she wanted one thing, and the one thing was her Waterloo, because that was my situation. I wanted my husband back, and I wanted that Rob that courted me and that would just kiss me all over and all this other stuff, and that's what I craved.
Okay, well, you guys had a very long marriage. Were there any separations or times when you just had enough of inattention and decided I'm going to do something different?
Yes, like a lot of women that are stuck on stupid, I thought that maybe if I would just run away and he would miss me and I'd take the kids off and I'd come up missing. He'd say, "Wait, what happened? Or what did I do?" And so yes, he was not in a position of ever leaving me because of the store. I mean, he was stuck. She was stuck, and I was the one that had the opportunity to get in the car and leave if I wanted to do it. So yes, there were a couple of times I did leave, mad at something or pouting or whatever. Yes. I was a typical spoiled individual until I finally saw that this was not getting me anywhere.
Well, I don't know. I just maybe be holding on like you did. You shared an early experience in the courtship, and you decided to move all the way to New York. And here comes this man.
Well, right. Okay. Well, that experience was nothing. I was not interested in Warren. Leaving him at that particular time was like, okay, yeah, he'll get over it. I wasn't interested, and I believe that New York experience that a lot of readers seem to gravitate to, that it was so unusual that this man would defy his mother and come to New York because I had gone off and my mother had enticed me to get a job there and everything would be roses and I could really make some money doing what she was doing, waiting on tables. So yes, that particular that was not what I considered a runaway. I thought you were talking about something else. No.
Oh yeah.
That was I wasn't. No, I was just experimenting with what my mom had talked me into, and she said, "Come to New York," and I said, "Okay, Mom, I'll come." One of those kind of things. And then when I got there, I found out that it wasn't, the grass was not greener on the other side, and I became stuck. There was nothing I could do but go back and forth and try to find a job.
So it sounds like you made it out of there, and in the story, people get this book because there's so many great details, and I just love, Kathleen, how you have shared some of your innermost stories with us, the readers. We're out there, and like I said, it looks good. Shoot, you got a store. You got a 2-flat building in Chicago.
I know. And but that
Black business was really on the move then, and you were part of that. So you did have a storied life, I must say.
Correct. But this is one of the things that you never wish and look at someone else's life and say, "Oh, I wish I had what she had," or because you never know the pain that person is walking through, even though they give the impression that they've got everything. Just to be married to Rob was something to, I guess, to be desired, because he was just the pillar of the neighborhood, and he was so well loved by everyone. And I had to be married to him. Oh my goodness, huh? But no. Seriously, he did give me everything. There was nothing that he did not provide for me. He never raised his voice at me. He never, of course, he never hit me or anything like that. So I had all the luxuries that any woman would desire. I just wanted his devotion. I didn't want him devoted to the store. And so, like so many people, jealousy can really ruin a person. I'm hopeful that people reading my book can understand how you can get caught up into wrong thinking, and your thinking process can really mess you up.
Well, that's why I love your book. You ultimately overcame a lot of that and could appreciate the good things that you did have. And I see that we are past time to open up this call, but as we do open up the call, I'd like you to share with our listeners how they can get your book. Where do they go to purchase the store story?
Okay, I do have signed copies of my book here with me. They can call me up on my phone and say, Kathleen, give me a book, and I'd be glad to provide that for them. Or they can order the book on my website, thestorestory.com.
Say it again.
It's called thestorestory.com.
Excellent. This is a book.
Okay, and it's already available on Amazon, or they can use the e-book format and order the book that way. So yes, there's several ways of getting the book, and sometimes people order the book and they have me to sign it for them because they have gotten the book on Amazon.
I appreciate you just coming on to the Cider Enterprises Book Club, because it's my honor to have you. I know this is your first real book out there, if you will, and I happened to meet you, and you were just so buoyant and excited about it. Talk to this woman and find out more about you. So I am going to now ask any callers on the line that would like to talk with Kathleen personally to *6 their phone, and you will be on the line.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. Hi, can you hear?
Who are you?
I'm Johanna Bright, fellow author.
Oh.
And how good evening to you, Miss Claudette. It's wonderful to be here to listen into the story about the store story. I can relate to it on a bunch of different levels, but what I wanted to ask her was, how do you stay married to someone raising their children above a store and never feel inclined to come down and, do that thing that we women do, which is take a look around, see how it looks, not want to put your so-called 2 cents in to change it. And the back end of the question is, you said that you hadn't been invited to come down, and being the person that I am, my head just went, why would you need to be invited to go down to a store where that your husband owned and worked in?
Yeah, okay, that's very important, and I can understand how you would feel that way because of how women are today. I came from a very different mindset of how women were treated and how our roles were as women. Born in 1942, coming through the women's movement was just beginning to explode in the 60s, where women could almost do anything they wanted to do, but I think I was sort of stuck on wanting to please my husband so much. I had fallen in love with him and didn't want to rattle the cage. If you can understand that sometimes people have a tendency when you go into a certain establishment, you know by the subtle ways people treat you, you're really not welcome. And they kind of like the conversation would stop, or the whole arena would alter.
I understand that.
You walked in, you know.
Yeah.
So you just like, well, I'm not invited down there, so I won't go. And it was a gradual thing. And I told the readers of my book that if things had happened really turned over real quick, I would have said, oh, wait a minute. But it was such a gradual thing that I had taken the role of being upstairs and his domain was downstairs. And it was almost like an unvoiced agreement. That was his place and I was upstairs. Yeah. And I really believe that I came out the shorter of the stick. And so wanting to write that or wanting to change that almost dissolved my whole relationship.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was crazy. In fact, the whole thing was a study of the will of people and how they interact with each other being married.
Well, I've been married for 26 years, and when I first joined the conversation between you and Claudette, you were talking about courtships and things, and the way it used to be back in the day.
Yes.
And it was changing over. It was changing over, but he still had to come and meet my mom and everything. And my husband and I raised our children to, if you're going to date somebody, I don't care if it's the first time or the last time they come to the house. Did they have to bring anything? No, but they did have to show up.
Correct.
We insisted on knowing who they were with. Is that something that you pass on to your children, and do you see that they've done that?
Well, yes.
In their lives?
I did pass that on to my children, but see, initially, my husband came, and I did not want to see him. He came a sneaky type of way. He came in to court me or just to sit in my house. So it wasn't a courtship. It wasn't normal. It wasn't normal at all. It wasn't
the
something
book
that
sounds very interesting.
I was smiling, and he said, oh, can I come by? And I said, oh, sure you can come by. And we sit there and look at each other. No, it was nothing like that.
Oh.
Yeah. So he actually...
It's a proverbial hot seat?
Pardon?
Was it the proverbial hot seat? He'd come and just be like your parents and
I don't know what he felt like, but he obviously whatever I did, it didn't seem to faze him because I acted like, what are you doing here? Are you here again? Oh my gosh, I mean, really, I was totally a brat.
Hard to get. That's what you mean, Kathy.
Yeah, right. I wasn't nice. Let's put it that way.
Oh wow. Joanne, so much for asking an important question from Miss John today to even be in the space of your husband. It sounds so foreign, but it was appropriate for the time. Yeah, that's weird. Well, you know what? Even though, even with all that happened, how do you go from there to here today, this author, this woman who wrote her story down? I mean, what was that transition like, writing that story down?
You mean you far as the quest that I had to write my story.
Yeah, what was that like?
That is something that I was talking to a friend of mine today. She was there during most of the episodes in my life, and her name is Janet. She and I were walking through some of those tremendous situations of why I came to write it down and write a book and actually publish it. So all those little steps, a lot of people ask me, well, how did you do it, or why did you do it? Initially, I was writing because I wanted to tell my story, the pain I went through, and then the revelation that God gave me of having a testimony of why I came out the winner. I really did. I came out the winner because I conquered self. Once you have a war with self, it's pretty serious.
Mm-hmm. You did a great job. Kathleen, will you share with us the publication of the book? It was a momentous time in your life, and just tell us the circumstances surrounding your publishing the book, if you will.
Okay, in publishing the book, I had, no one is an island, and everyone contributed to giving me the the push to keep going. And this friend of mine, Janet, she came to my home and she said, "You're going to write this book." Or no, I had already written it. I'm sorry, I had already written it, but it had not come to a climax, or it had not come to some kind of feeling. And we came to the conclusion that it was something that should be told. So once you pass that in your heart and you get this desire to do it, another thing came to mind. Even though my husband was no longer with me, my 50th wedding anniversary was coming up, and I wanted to have something to commemorate that. And so that was June 12th, 2014, because we had gotten married on June 12th, 1964. And I just said, okay, hook or crook, no matter what, I'm going to have that book published on that particular day to commemorate my anniversary, my 50th wedding anniversary. And I plugged along, and that date was near, and it wasn't complete as far as me sending it through all the editors that needed to hone in and get the book pristine. But I had promised myself in my heart that it will be published on June 12th, and so that's what I did. I went through the self-publishing route. I went through CreateSpace, and it is a fantastic arena for any young author that wants to do something. And then you submit your work, and they say, bingo, you can have it. And so that's how my book came to being. Prior to that, I had delved into oil painting, and a friend of mine coached me in painting the store, the actual picture of the store. And so I used that as the cover of my book. So there's no pictures inside, but I think everything is depicted outside, where my husband is standing outside of his grocery store, and I'm up in the window. A lot of people don't see me up in the window, but it's in the corner of the fold of the book where I'm stuck there, and he's downstairs greeting all the people. So that's really basically the whole crux of the book, and why I move forward at the end to write the book and then inevitably to go and publish it.
You know what? You've made me go and pick up my copy of the book and lo and behold, there you are in the window.
Yes, I'm in the window. Right.
Yeah.
There I am in the window. And when I was painting that whole scene, there was an old lady. She was almost, I think she was about 98 years old, and she was the mother of the artist that was coaching me. And she made me put myself in the window. And at the time, I had no idea that would be the cover of my book. But she said, "No, I want you in that picture." And see, there was when I was painting the outside of the store, and my husband standing outside, there was nowhere to put me. And so I put me up there in the window, and then it actually fit in with the story. It fit in so perfectly, but it wasn't designed that way initially.
Oh, you did a
it was just great. But this is how God works with us. You know, He just says, "Okay, you're going to use that. You don't know it, but that old lady made me put myself in that oil painting."
No, she knew. And
she could have known. Yeah. She's in heaven right now. But that lady was very sweet. And she'd peep out. I'd be painting in the garage. I don't know. I guess a lot of people, when they're painting in oil, it's something that you paint maybe every week, and you come back and you put a little bit more on the painting. And she said, "Well, where are you?" She just asked me that one question. "Well, where are you in the paint?"
Were you doing paintings and so forth in the book? Like you said, emotions are rampant at times, and they seem so intense. And I know you speak of seeking relief from the intensity of those emotions, and you spoke of jealousy, and it was just like it consumed you at times. And so I was wondering, was the painting kind of therapy, if you will, that you used to move beyond that?
Yes. Even though the actual painting of the store was in oil, I drew a lot, but I was more or less scared of color. And then I had someone help me to start painting in acrylic. And yes, I have several paintings in acrylic that gave me the escapism, or to put myself in my paintings, put myself in my artwork, as say, because this is what I do still. Even though writing has become my passion now, I really believe it's the greatest art form that anyone could have. Lyrics to songs, or writing stories and poems. It's just a beautiful way of translating ideas to another person. Also, art, all forms of art. It's a wonderful gift to have.
About your children, their regards today about the store. Is anybody still with the store? Is the store open or available to be open by a family member? Or is there an interest in that?
No. The actual grocery store is not open right now. The store is there. She's empty. She's looking for her next. I could make some statement. I could say she's looking for her next victim. But yes, she's there waiting. She's very patient, and she's got a facelift. If someone came by the store, the corner of 72nd and Woodlawn here in Chicago, they'd see that the store has a different front. She did not like her old bricks, and they came tumbling down, and we had to do a major facelift for her. And she's beautiful again. She gets a lot of compliments. She's got all the colors that she wanted, and her windows are beautiful now. So she's there. She's there, probably batting her eyes, waiting for the next person to come along, and she's quite enticing.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Robinson. I enjoyed your story tonight. And one of the questions I was going to ask is, where is the store? I heard it's in Pocket, community called Pocket. I don't know where that's at.
And you know what? I'm so sorry that I can't give you a physical description right now, and it escapes me. I guess when you're older, I have to write that down. I know where my grocery store is. I know where I raised my family up at 72nd and Woodlawn. And the Pocket would be north of me, two to 3 blocks north of me. It's where my husband actually found out that he liked the store business. He liked that whole arena, and that was his calling. I really believe that. And he touched a lot of people being the owner of the grocery store on the corner of 72nd and Woodlawn.
You know, one of the things I was curious, I know that you stayed upstairs. I would find that very difficult for me. But then again, I don't know. Have you ever thought, or maybe you weren't really committed to him? You really didn't want him. I heard you as you were explaining to the guests before that he was sneaky and and you didn't want to be bothered with him. I'm wondering, did you hold those feelings still? I mean, did you have some, I wouldn't say resentment, but was it something about when the marriage that you just didn't feel whole or have a really desire to be at one with him? You know, I know about the
right. All of us are multi-sided, and we come out of very different attitudes at different times.
Yeah, but he was the ideal that you had for a husband and a man. You know, I was wondering, was he your
ideal? Right.
A man and a husband when you were a kid.
Well, I can't hear you. I can't hear you completely, but I really believe that you were asking, how did I live with a guy like that? Is that what you're saying?
No, it was that you were saying that I heard you describing him, and it was a certain tone that you had when he first came. You said, well, he was sneaky, and I was wondering if he just didn't fit the bill for you. You know, you didn't really, you never really wanted to not be involved.
No. I don't know what happens to a woman when you fall totally in love with someone. And in fact, I am still in love with my husband. I remember the other side of me. I remember when I didn't want to be bothered with him. So I'm hopeful that answers your question of how you can be totally in love with someone and you're helpless. You're helpless. And so since he wasn't someone that that was cruel, but I really believe it was cruelty in another way. It was another manipulative situation where he had to do what he wanted to do, and I either had to accept it or not. And being in love with him, my goal was to please him. That in the pleasing and then wanting to have some autonomy myself was the war. And I really believe that all of us go through this in one way or the other, is trying to find out who we are. Will the real person please stand up? Yeah. So I had that realization several times in my life where I resented the customers in a way, and then there was a time in my life when I appreciated the customers because they were sending my kids to school, giving them college educations and affording me beautiful cars and furs and things like that. So I was stuck on stupid for a long time, but I did come to some realization of just what I had.
And, one of the things I wanted to ask about your children, you say you had 4 children. You lost one. You birthed 5, lost one. What was their relationship with your dad in the store? Did any one of them ever go into the store and work with him? or their family was
Oh, yeah.
isolated.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. He used his children. I mean, they actually counted candy from the time they were 4 years old or would do something. Yes, he had his children there. I was the one that wasn't there.
Oh.
And then when I was talking to Janet today, we were talking about our husbands and this Donald Trump fiasco with being powerful and how women had to do all kinds of stupid things to keep their jobs. I don't know if my husband felt that he didn't want another man gaping all over me or looking at me up and down or something, or whether he kept his wife separate. And then I don't know. I mean, we were just exploring things, looking back on our lives, because she had a husband that didn't want her out there working. So a lot of women are in a situation where they have to succumb to a man putting their hand up their dress or something because they have to keep their job. Mm. I mean, so a lot of things
very much. That's
not
unlike today, though.
A lot of things that are happening in the relationship with so many marriages don't last. And there's a caller just before you that really has been in a marriage for a long time, and they have to be applauded. It's not easy as people think.
Amen.
To melt two people together because you're evolving all the time. You're growing. You're experiencing things that are different from when you were in your early teens and 20s, and then you're coming to your 40s and 50s. You look at life differently because of the situations you've been through.
Well, I'm curious. I will be getting your book so that I can get a better sense of who you are and get a feeling and find something to relate to for myself as well.
Well, thank you.
I've had
are you in Chicago?
Yeah, I'm in Chicago. Yeah, I'm here in Chicago. Originally from New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where most people that I've heard, have been born elsewhere. So you were born here in the pocket. So,
are you familiar with the pocket?
No, I've never heard it before. Never heard of that expression.
Okay.
That's why I was asking about it. I said, okay, where is this located? Thank you. But thank you, congratulations, and I'm glad that you had a deadline and you plucked away until you got it out, and that's interesting. War with self, and so that's where the victory is. So whatever the story is about, and whatever your life experiences are, you labeling you, finding yourself as a victor, right?
Yes.
In life, because you finally overcome whatever it was that you had within yourself that was keeping you from being off.
Whatever we as women, or really the human race, I mean, whether we're male or female, I mean, we do have to overcome certain things. We really do. And my rock is the Lord Jesus Christ. And that's what helped me through all my problems.
I'd like to ask a quick question.
Hello?
Yes.
We have time for one more caller. Thank you. Go ahead, caller.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, this is Janine. I want to say thank you. I love the conversation. And I want to say that I do identify with where you're coming from, because I've been married 32 years, and there were times in our relationship where we were not necessarily involved in each other the way we should as man and woman, because we're growing, different experiences, and because we didn't know how to articulate it and how to talk about it, we just kept going and moving forward until one day it came back into a space of loving again. So I do identify what you're saying, how you can love someone but not be present with them in that relationship.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't know how to identify with yourself, and especially in those days, women didn't have a voice. Women didn't even understand their own bodies, didn't understand themselves, not long as they could articulate it and have a voice about it. So I just want to say I do understand. But the one thing that I wanted to ask, you said that there was the one thing that you had to overcome. What was the one thing that you had to overcome and how did that translate to who you are as a woman today?
Okay, now that would take me about 15 minutes to answer, but hopefully you can understand that knowing who you are and not letting someone else's opinion, even your own opinion, determine your destiny. I had to get over one of the things that really almost tripped me up in the book, and I mentioned that, was the jealousy. And jealousy is some kind of inward inadequacy, that you think of yourself as not being good enough or whatever. And the jealousy in any realm, it can destroy you. And that's my main thing of getting over and conquering that. I don't suffer with that anymore, and it almost destroyed me. So hopefully I could answer that as quickly, but I would love to sit across the table with you having lunch and explore that to extent.
Well, maybe we should do that, because I love the answer, because I love the fact that you were so authentic and transparent about that, because we experience that when we don't feel worthy and good enough. And so just one more question. What did you do to overcome the idea that you were more than enough and that you are worthy and that you are deserving? What particular tools did you use to say to yourself, oh,
well, I don't know who you are, but you give me a call at 773
okay.
573 8965, and I'd love to talk with you and help you with that, or help you understand how I became who I am today.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you,
Claudette.
Claudette.
What is your name?
My name is Janine Ingram.
Okay, Janine. I'll remember that.
Yes, you will, Kathleen. That's one of the transformative coaches here in my community that helps us to understand our self-worth. It was like you just spoke directly to her, and I'm so glad she was able to come on the call and confirm that. And you guys will talk with each other because you're transparent. You're the story. And this is what she teaches other women how to do. Become authentic with themselves and shape their own lives. So, meet Kathleen, meet Janine. And there were some other great callers on this phone tonight, too. Joanna, I want to thank you, Joanna. You're welcome. Hi, Robinson, and her story, the store, really shows us how those who came from another time and situation, ancestral backgrounds, come here to Chicago and decided they, too, are part of that legacy where you cannot fail. In spite of the changes, the life that she had to go through, she insisted, I can be a better person, and has made the change for herself. And for us listeners to know that there is a way. If you believe, you trust God, you look for Him for your answers and directions, you too can make great changes. So, Kathleen, thank you so much. And if you will just share one more time with us how to get your book, it would be appreciated.
Yes. Okay. Like I shared with everyone in the beginning, my book is available here in Chicago. My phone number is 773-573-8965. Also, my book is available on the story.com. It's my website. And also an Amazon. You can get the book there and also an ebook form. Thank you so much. I had so much fun tonight. Thank you for the invite. I appreciate you, Claudette.
You are wonderful. I am glad to have met you and had you on this call. Kathleen, I'd like to invite you and all the callers to come out because the Cider Enterprise Book Club is having part 2 of my anniversary celebration tomorrow night here in Chicago. We will be at the Stony Island Arts Bank, located at 6760 South Stony Island. And we're going to have our Authors Appreciation Ceremony. In the 4 seasons that I've experienced on the book club, I've had some dynamic authors. And last season's authors will be featured. We're going to honor them with a certificate. We've got great music. And in this auspicious place of the Stony Island Arts Thing, I think they will enjoy the celebration. So you and your friends, family, come out 6 to 7 p.m. Chicago. And thank you.
Okay. Now that's Friday, correct?
Tomorrow.
Okay. Hopefully I'll see some of your callers there. Okay?
Okay, I'm sure you will. Thank you all, and say good night. I look forward to seeing everyone. Receiving from everyone on this call on No 17. I am going to feature my sister friend, Carla about her wonderful book right here on the Cider Enterprises Book Club. So come
Happy anniversary! Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
Right. Thank you. Goodbye.
All right. God bless. Good night.
Good night. Good night.